Hey everybody, I'm going to be doing a different video than normal today and be going over all of the aftermarket parts and accessories that I've added to my Latrax Prerunner. Alright, so through the few years that I've owned this car, I've added quite a lot of aftermarket and non-stock accessories and upgraded just about this whole system. And to start off, I'm going to go with some of the more random or just the simple bits of the car and slowly build up to the more expensive or whatever took the most work and was the most complicated bits to add on. Starting off is going to be the aluminum suspension A-arms and our axle shafts, which, if you can tell already, I'm following a blue aluminum kind of pattern through the whole thing. Tried to keep that a good system through the whole build. I took off the front suspension to get you guys a better view. But those were some of the most simple things that I've added to this. With the A-arms, all you really need to do is take off the front bumper. And for the axles, you just need to take off the bulkhead at the wheels. Now, when it comes to the suspension A-arms, those, I would say, if you get this vehicle, would be the first thing that I would recommend or I think that you should ever put on it. When I first got this, just about, I believe, 4 years ago, I believe within the first week of me owning this, I had some of the plastic ones break. And I probably went through, if you buy a set of 4 of them, I probably went through a dozen sets. And I decided to just shoot for the aluminum. And I heard a lot of people say that they had worries in the comments and reviews of those products that it would just add more parts that break down the line and would just make it so you'd have to replace a different part rather than those. But I added those in anyway. I wanted to shoot for it, see what I could do, and they have worked perfect for me. I ended up putting in the aluminum axles not long after that. I'm pretty sure, honestly, I don't think that I had that many break. I'm pretty sure I only had one axle break, but I decided, just since, in case the people were right about the A-arms, just to be safe, I would get the axles in aluminum, just to try and strengthen up this build as much as I can. That way, down the road, I wouldn't just have to replace them anyway. And, I mean, I haven't had any problem with either of those parts. The only downside that, like, you could really tell is maybe that the paint gets scratched off. But I think, especially when you first put them on, they look beautiful. They really matched my build. They fit perfectly in. And I'll show both products up on the screen so that you guys can find them. Those two were both just, I think they were both Hobby Park brand. But just ones I found on Amazon, they were, I think, $15, maybe $20 for each set. So, not a super big spend, and it's some of the best money I've ever paid for a part on this RC car. Moving on to the next part that I've added to this car, it's kind of a DIY project I did because I bought this set of tires that I was actually trying to get it for a different car and ended up completely biffing the size of the tire and the size of the mount. So I've just had a full set of those sitting off on the side of my desk. I actually have 2 sets just sitting off on the side of my desk. I've used them for, like, the crawler course, make a little pile of them, anything. I never actually had anything to put them on. They were the wrong size tire and the wrong size mount system. And I decided, since these are just about the same size as the stock rims, just a little bit bigger, that I would try just kind of carving them out and getting them to fit on the stock rims, and it actually turned out really well. You just got to use a good load of super glue and cut real slowly. That'd be my words. I don't know if I could recommend this to anybody else. It worked fine for me, and they're good tires. They've got foam inserts, like they fit well once I did it, but you've got to be very specific with the way you cut it. You've got to add a lot of super glue, and obviously I'm sure that you can be smart and find the right ones online, unlike me. So yeah, I don't know if I would completely recommend that to anybody, but that's another thing I did, is just adding my own tires to the stock rims. So I don't know, I probably wouldn't even consider this an actual upgrade, but an honorable mention is getting a second of the stock batteries. It's obviously not the same sticker, but it's the exact same battery. It's not a LiPo or anything. And I mean, I think it's a good thing to buy. It doubles your playtime. So that way, either if you have a battery failure, forgot to plug one in, or if you just want to play longer, you get another one. I've got for both these batteries, I've got the USB charger for them. This can charge a LiPo and nickel metal high drive, and it's way faster than the stock just wall plug-in mount. You plug it into USB-C, so you can just use your phone charger. It's got sensors, and it's just, like, I really can't say how much better of a charger it is. It tells you how close it is to being done. The light will flash quicker until it's fully charged, and it'll just stay flat on. But it's got sensors, so it's a lot less likely for you to damage your batteries or worse. Going with the batteries, I've also got, on top of the charger, I've got the aluminum battery mount, or the battery cover. Really, I wouldn't say this is something anybody really needs to buy. I lost mine when I was younger, when I first got the car, so just ended up getting an aluminum one because it looked cool and it matched the theme. That's really about the only reason I've got it. But one more upgrade adding on to the batteries. Another DIY kind of upgrade I did to the car is both of the differentials. I did a homemade lock-on just using some super glue or JB Weld, whatever you have, whatever really the strongest adhesive you have. If you open up the spider gears in the front and back differential, you can put a glob of super glue on it, and as long as you don't get any on the main teeth of the gear, it will lock it. So now, if I spin one wheel, moves the whole car. So that way, when you're driving through grass, or if it's rainy out, or if the road's wet, like, you just keep a lot more traction. And braking, that's one thing. The main thing I noticed about it is that with the fully open differential system, if you hit the brakes, sometimes it would only lock up one or two wheels, and you just really wouldn't get any of the stopping power. And now, if I hit the brakes, it fully locks whole system, all the wheels stop, and I mean, for one, it's cool because you can kind of drift with it now, and it's a lot safer because if you need to stop an emergency, say you're driving down the road and a car is coming, or if, like, anything, really anything, if you're about to crash, you can actually stop. It's just a lot more reliable of a system. Next up on the list, and a step in the more technical side of some of the upgrades I've done, is the Endura metal geared servo. It's got an aluminum servo horn and an aluminum casing, but I believe it's a little bit stronger than the original one, and since it's got the aftermarket servo horn, it's a little bit longer and got a few mounting points, so you can get a lot more movement out of it, and it's a lot faster, is one thing I've noticed, than the stock Traxxas micro servo. It's a lot faster, and it's got a lot more power, and really the only thing that I've noticed is that with the aluminum servo horn, I would put Loctite on that ball joint, because with how much that moves around when you're driving, it can come loose fairly easy. I tighten it down just as tight as I could with a pair of pliers for the time being until I can get some Loctite. One of the last upgrades on the list here is going to be the ESC and motor I got. I'll put the product up on the screen, but it is just an Amazon brand. It was a fairly cheap one for the prices that they normally are at. So that way, like, it was just a cheap Amazon one. If I really liked it, I could find a better one or a more quality brand. But I believe it was $60 for the pair. And it's got the ESC. All I had to do was go and for a couple bucks, it's pretty tight on there. I don't know if I'm going to get it off. But you can get these adapters because it was made for a different battery. So if you just get these Traxxas adapters, plug it in, and it's just plug and play. It works perfectly with the original Traxxas batteries. And you can get motor replacements. I had to do it once because the original motor that came with it, I believe it was a defect because within an hour of putting it in, and actually an hour of playtime, the shaft on the motor had snapped off. And so I had to order a new one. It was, I believe, $15 for the motor alone, which honestly I thought was a really good deal. I was able to find another pretty cheap one, which for the time being I'm pretty okay with because I like testing with the cheaper things before I splurge and spend a bunch of money because maybe you don't like them. Maybe it's not worth spending all the money. I'd rather waste money and have a cheaper one break than spend even more money and just not like it. So I'm okay with it. And it's, once again, I'm pretty happy with it. It's matching the blue aluminum, and it's a brushless motor, and you're able to hook up a LiPo to this ESC. And I believe I haven't bought any yet, but I've went on and I've been shopping for LiPos that can just plug in to the stock little mounting here, the stock battery plug, which I think it'd be pretty cool. It'd be easy, make it real simple. You can just plug in the adapter if you ever just want to use the normal batteries. That way you can have, I mean, it's just even more playtime. Even if you want to use the LiPos the whole time, you can bring these just in case. That way if you have a battery malfunction or if you just want to play longer, you've got even more battery time at just a little bit less power. Right now, I believe it goes around 25 miles an hour, 25 to 30. I'm really not completely sure. I'm going to do a speed controller test and just download one of those apps on my phone and just kind of set it on top of the car, try and mount my phone some way to get a speed gauge on it. And yeah, that's all the upgrades. And yeah, so that's all the upgrades on it. I've got, it's a Traxxas brand. It's the same one that came with this car, but this is an aftermarket shell because the first one I had, I made a really old video about it a while back, but I was going over a jump and got T-boned on a track I built in my aunt's backyard. One of my cousins ran it over with a lot bigger RC car, and it kind of shattered. I mean, it was pretty toast. You could tell that I wasn't able to save it or anything. So I had one body that I got the clear shell and painted, and it turned out really well. I don't think I had any videos of it because I figured out that unless it was just a defect or if I used the wrong paint, but the aftermarket like clear shell seemed very brittle compared to the normal ones. It wasn't nearly as flexible like this one is. Like if you hit something, it would crack rather than just pushing in. So, not really sure what happened with that, but I just got the same one as normal just in case. And it's worked out just fine. There's a camera mount on the back, and the only thing that isn't normal about this is that I cut this square out of the rear end to let air out because I figured out that this has actually gotten fast enough that it's caught air underneath the body, and it's done. I once dropped it down on the floor and it did a power wheelie, which I thought it was crazy to happen, but I was honestly just really stoked about it, that it's gotten this powerful and this good. But I cut out that just to let more air flow through it. That way it wouldn't parachute or anything like that. And I guess we'll just get into the outside and start driving.